gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's November the 29th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented this morning by Caneswear, your shop for all your Canes holiday shopping needs, and by Life Wallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt, the beat goes on, man. There's always a lot to talk about. And today, our opening subject is going to be red shirts. And, you know, you're looking for silver linings to an obviously disastrous football season, something that, you know, to be positive about. And when I looked at the red shirt situation that you very astutely write about today on the website, I'm like, you know what? They did a pretty good job managing their freshman class this year and redshirting a reasonable number of guys and just starting to develop what will be obviously an important roster in the future. And freshmen that redshirted this year, there were 9 of them. Matt, Trevante Citizen, the running back, that was by circumstance. He got hurt. Same thing with Chris Graves, the cornerback. But Jaden Harris got a chance to play in 2 games, clearly was not ready. They redshirted him. Isaiah Horton stepped foot on the field for 4 games, which is what you're allowed. Wasn't really ready to make a major impact. They redshirted him. An offensive lineman that I know they love, a guy that they think is going to be a star in the future, Matthew McCoy. He played in 2 games. They found that he's just not ready yet, as most offensive linemen are not. Inez Cooper, in an ideal world, would not have played this year. You know, Matthew McCoy played in those 2 games, and he got his red shirt this year. And now he might, by next year, challenge for a starting job. Defensive tackle Ahmad Moten played in 2 games. We'll see how quickly he can develop and whether he can be a factor next year. Defensive end Cyrus Moss badly needed to work on his body, way too rail thin to compete at the college level. He did step foot on the field in 3 games while he was working on weight and strength the whole season. Now he's got 9 months before he has to suit up in another season. He got his redshirt year. Cornerback Kamari Rogers, another one, just physically not ready. He played in 1 game. He got redshirted. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Kamari. His dad went on social media and created a storm that was not well received inside the building about his playing time as a true freshman. So not sure what the future holds for Kamari Rogers. We will see. And then Markeith Williams, a safety that I know that they love, that they think is going to be real, real good. He touched the field in 4 games. He got his red shirt. Brilliant move by the coaches. And next year, I think he will be competing for playing time, maybe even a starting spot if James Williams gets moved down into the box, which is, my opinion, is something that needs to happen. But we do not know yet what the status is there. Several other guys on the roster played 4 games or less. There were 6 of them, and they can thus get a red shirt. Running back Don Chaney, Thomas Davis, Jabari Ishmael, Mike McLaughlin, Zion Nelson, and Ryan Rodriguez. The only thing I'm going to say about those guys, Matt, is I think some of them could end up in the transfer portal. And we're not playing the prediction game until guys actually have the right to declare their futures. You know, we're trying to stay away from that. They're young kids, and we're trying to be fair. But I will go out on the limb and say of those 6, that several, I believe, will end up in the portal. But the bottom line is, for the purposes of our discussion here right now, Matt, that Miami seems to have done a decent job this year in managing its young players and preserving years of eligibility, which different people have different opinions on. It's something that I personally greatly value.
Yeah. Just so you know, I mean, Don Chaney did previously redshirt, but he can apply, I guess, as an injury.
He can get a medical
situation
waiver
to get another extra year. And, it's unfortunate, Chase Smith and Elijah Arroyo played one more game than they were allowed to before having season-ending injuries. So they lost their red shirts because they played in one extra game. Typical NCAA stuff. They don't let you appeal that. You played more than four games. Basically, the answer is going to be a blanket no, trying to get an extra year out of it.
In fairness, they got to have a line somewhere.
I guess.
They have to have a line somewhere.
It's one thing to bench a guy after he plays the first quarter of the fifth game, and then he can't redshirt. It's another thing if the guy tears his knee up in the first series of the fifth game, and because he played two extra series, he can't redshirt. They should have some leeway. But if you say they shouldn't, they shouldn't. Okay, Gary,
if he was late in his career, he would get a medical waiver more than likely.
That's not true. That's not true.
I think
not if you played more than 4 games. That's the rule. Anyway, but in general, yeah, I think they did fine in terms of who they played, who they didn't play. I think they didn't have a choice playing Inez Cooper. They didn't have a choice playing Jakari. They didn't have a choice playing Wesley Saints. Nigel Kelly, they could have certainly redshirted him. They had enough depth at defensive end, but he's a guy who I think they're going to need to rely on a lot next year. So it's good to get him that experience. No issues there. Jaleel Skinner, I think they would have redshirted if not for the Arroyo injury. It would not have made sense to me to have played him based on what we saw as the number 3 receiving tight end and not even a blocking tight end in this offense. But as it turned out, of course, he had to play. So the ones they played, they had to play that lost their red shirts. And the other ones that did redshirt that were freshmen, I think 2 of them were injuries and the other ones just weren't ready, which is okay. So, yeah, I mean, the story speaks for itself. We just wanted to sort of break it down for everybody in terms of, the roster rebuild. It would be unusual for him for Mario to kick off maybe more than 1 or 2 of the true freshmen, since he literally is the one who brought these guys in. So these are guys who could be relied on next year for depth. So we wanted to take a look at what they did this year, where they're at, and that's what we did.
All right. We also are continuing our look just at guys that might be heading to the portal, guys that are coming back at different positions and what the needs might be at those positions. And the one position we take a look at today is the running back position. And another really interesting story because you've got so many different elements there. You've got running backs that are eligible to return who had 100 or more reps that were the foundation of offense this year. Henry Parrish and Jalen Knighton. You have Thaddeus Franklin heading to the transfer portal, no longer in the picture. And then you got a couple guys returning from injury in Trevante Citizen and Don Chaney. I know Don Chaney got in for a couple plays against Pittsburgh, but essentially he is coming back from injury and would fall into that category. And then we'll see what happens. I think obviously they're going to try to get at least one, if not two, running backs in recruiting. I'm thinking they might get at least one running back from the transfer portal. So the bottom line about the running back position, Matt, is that this could have a distinctly different look by the time we get to August and a new season.
Yeah, I mean, they need a star running back. It doesn't appear they have one on the current roster. Look, I assume they're going to bring in a transfer running back. I don't think there's a choice at this point because you don't know Trevante Citizen's status. He had a major injury. You don't know quite where he's going to be at. I don't think he's going to play in the spring. So now you're just waiting till next fall. But then it's too late to say, we don't have a real dominant running back on the roster. I think we saw that Henry Parrish was fine, gives great effort, but he's not one of these explosive, amazing running backs who just runs by everybody or makes a cut and he's gone. He's just not. You saw Jalen Knighton have all kinds of problems. I mean, I'm not like Mario says, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The running backs weren't good. They're not good. They weren't good enough. You could say that across so many positions on this team, almost all of them. And so you need something different and new, which you can get a running back in the portal. Maybe they'll wind up with a Mark Fletcher, for instance. Great. But again, to rely on a true freshman running back or a guy who was out all year with a serious knee injury, they're going to need to go to the portal, period. And if and when they go to the portal and get a top back, you have to wonder, in the first period, second period, that people go in the portal, does a Jalen Knighton transfer? Does who knows? This is all new territory. Like, we don't know what this running back room is going to look like next year. I have a feeling they might even bring in 2 running backs out of the portal to compete to start, because it wasn't good enough. It was clearly not good enough at the running back position.
Yeah, I mean, Parrish rather is a tough kid, and when he was out there, played very hard, but he had a hard time making it through the season. He's just, he's a tough.
By the way, people forget when he was at Ole Miss last year. Kevin Smith coached him, which is great. He was the 4th team running back at Ole Miss, and he instantaneously went from 4th team to the starter at Miami. If he was, not that he's not great, but if he was so great, would he have been 4th team at Ole Miss? I mean, he had the same size, speed, everything else you saw here at Miami. He had that at Ole Miss. He played quite a bit as the 4th team guy there, fourth leading running back rusher, I should say. But I mean, it is what it is.
He's a solid running back when healthy, good enough to gain over 100 yards at Texas A&M, but he's not a number 1 running back. He's not big enough. He's not durable enough. And you see how banged up he was through a good portion of the season. So they need better than that for RB1. There's no doubt about it. Jalen Knighton, they need better than that for RB1. Not anywhere close to consistent enough. Goes down way too easily. Struggled through some games this year, not making the right cuts. There was one at Texas A&M, I remember in particular, where he had a walk-in touchdown and couldn't get to the lane. And then there's other times when he puts a great run together. I mean, he does have some ability. So I think Jalen Knighton is a keeper. I don't think they will send him to the portal. But
and by the way, Gary, I never correct you, but he did not run for 100 yards against Texas A&M. I think you're thinking of something else.
Henry Parrish did.
No, he ran 16 times for 85 yards in that game.
It wasn't over 100?
Nope.
All right. I'm getting old then. I thought I remembered it being over 100. But the point I'm making is he's not RB1. I mean, that's the real point I'm making, the stat aside. And neither is Knighton. So Citizen was recruited to be that kind of player. But, he's coming off injury. He hasn't done anything yet. We do not know what he is going to look like this year. Don Chaney, like I said, coming back from injury. We don't know what that's going to look like this year. So, Matt, you might be right. Yet again, I can't believe, as usual, that I'm saying that. But, yeah, I could see a couple new running backs on this team, maybe even by spring practice, but certainly by the fall. And I don't know if there's much more for you to say on that. But yeah, no, I really do. I think I agree with you on that front. All right, so we'll move on, and we have our Miami Hurricanes in the NFL featured today, the Week 12 highlights. That's always a significant thing to look at. We got an interesting transfer portal story in addition to our transfer portal tracker. And Michigan quarterback Cade McNamara went into the portal yesterday. And the reason why that's interesting, I mean, the fan base is all up in arms, totally convinced that Josh Gaddis will not be back next year. There's a backdoor agreement with Mario Cristobal to look for another job. All kinds of conjecture, rumors, whatever you want to call it, taking place about Josh Gaddis. But as we sit here today, the truth of the matter is, Matt, we don't know for sure what is going to happen there. And if Josh Gaddis is back, and if Tyler Van Dyke suddenly decides, you know what, I better go somewhere else and not play at Miami next year after this horrific experience this year, which is not out of the question, there's a large chance that Miami would take a run at Cade McNamara in the portal because he knows Josh Gaddis' offense. He took Michigan to the college football playoff as Josh Gaddis' quarterback. And if Josh Gaddis is going to be here, it would make total sense to go get Cade McNamara.
Look, I'm not big on conjecture, but what I will say is what I know. And
why not? The season's over. What else do we have right now? Conjecture.
What I'm going to say that they're going to take Cade McNamara. This is not something that we think is even remotely going to happen as of right now. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I have nothing to add about that because we don't know. If I knew, for instance, that Miami was already setting up an NIL deal for him, or not Miami, but their representatives, whatever, great. But I have not heard anything like that. So what I will say is what I know, and what I know is that yesterday I talked to a player's representative, and every player has a representative, lawyer, agents, whatever. I'm not saying he's at Miami or any other school, but it was a college football player who's a pretty good player and was a pretty high recruit and pretty good player. And I talked to him for a while, and the advice these players are getting is, you like the school you're at, you like your situation, you're going to start again or whatever the case may be, but you should still go in the portal. And the reason you should still go in the portal is, every one of these top players is getting backdoor offers from different representatives of different schools. But based on what this person told me, until you really actually go in the portal, you don't start the bidding war, because nobody knows what anyone else is doing, and you can tell somebody, hey, so-and-so's offering me this much money, you got to best it, but until you're in the portal, none of it's real. It's like when you go house shopping, and the other person, the realtor for the homeowner that you're trying to buy their house says, oh, we have 8 other offers, whatever. Do you really believe them? I don't know. Is there some ethics you have to follow? Maybe, but I don't know these people. I don't know who they are. So again, nobody really knows anything until when they go in the portal, and lawyers really can get actively involved legally once they're in the portal and deal with different offers. Then you sort of know. And a lot of it, based on this person, is not to leave. You go in the portal to stay, but you go in the portal to stay for more money. Because when you're at a program you like, when you're at a program where you feel comfortable, when you're at a program where you're doing well, respectively well, the player doesn't want to leave and try something new and go to a new system and new coaches he doesn't know. And that's not what you want. But at the same time, you want to get paid.
It might be worth another $100,000 or something to go in the portal.
Yeah, players will be going in the portal just to get more money to stay. So just if you guys freak out if a Miami player goes in the portal, for instance, it doesn't mean they're leaving anymore. It just means you better offer him more money to stay. That's all it means. If he enjoys being here, So I just want to warn fans out there that if every single Miami player goes in the portal, they all can come back. And there's a great likelihood the majority of them actually would come back if they're players that you're shocked. Why would he go in the portal? Why would Leonard Taylor go in the portal? He's from here. He loves the Hurricanes. It's not because he's leaving people. It's because he's saying, hey, conglomerate. Hey, Mr. Ruiz, I've got more money elsewhere. You need to at least come close to matching it and make it worth my while to stay. And it's a sad state of affairs. I don't like it. Just as a fan perspective, it's not right. It's not good for college football. If they don't fix it, fans will no longer watch the sport because there's only going to be maybe 15 or 20 teams that are any good every year that steal players from every other program. And the other 110 teams are going to form their own division called the Losers Division, and they'll compete for the Losers Championship, the Toilet Bowl every year. And it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really, really interesting. No doubt about it. All right, we do have other things to talk about today, but first, let's take care of some business and let's hear from our sponsors. First, LifeWallet.
We here at LifeWallet take security very seriously. Our data security team is working constantly to make sure that your data is not accessed by anybody who you don't authorize.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm
Excuse me, sir. Thank you.
I have from CC, and he's thinking about it, and I'll be talking to CC. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
We use leading technology standards like biometric data to make sure that only you have access to your data and your identity is protected. LifeWallet gives you access to your entire medical history and information at the touch of your finger so that it can save you time and can save your life.
Data transfer complete.
Does Tyler Van Dyke end up in the transfer portal?
Are you asking me or the fans?
I am asking you, man.
If I was his personal advisor, I would say, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't he go in the portal? Of course. Again, he can just come back. But why wouldn't you go in the portal? There's no reason not to go in the portal for any player at any school. I mean, if you're any good, if you're not good, you go in the portal, the team might just be like, goodbye, we don't need you anyway. But if it's a starter who's performed fairly well, every single one of them, absolutely, if I was advising every single one of them, I would thumb your nose at the NCAA, and every single one of you should go in the portal and show the NCAA what moron. Oh, I can't use moron.
You can't do it. Why can't you? Why not?
I don't know. I think it's any word that's on the IQ spectrum from the old days you can't use. Show the NCAA how mentally deranged they are, and see how much money you can get. Why not? Go. Show me the money. The whole thing.
All right, now let's hear from CaneSport.
Welcome to CaneSport. Family owned and operated since 2010, CaneSport has all latest merchandise for the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Inter Miami Soccer, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of I-595, or online at CaneSport.com. CaneSport, the spot Miami fans shop.
And CaneSport has a great deal for Hurricane fans through Wednesday. It's their Cyber Monday sale. You get $50 off any purchase over $99. So, manipulate it to where you're over $99, maybe 101, 102. If Matt Shodell were doing the shopping, it would be 102 cents. But however it works out, you can use this discount code CM50 if you do it online at CaneSport.com, or you could go in their store and you could save $50 on holiday presents, or you could load up on Canes gear for next season at 50% off. So encourage everybody to go to CaneSport. Unfortunately, they got a lot of merchandise over there for you guys to choose from because they buy, Brett the owner, he buys like it's 1989 and the Canes are gonna be playing for the national title, but it was 2022 and they didn't. And that means there's a lot of polos, a lot of t-shirts, a lot of hats, a lot of everything over there on the shelves that CaneSport. Encourage you guys, give them a look as you do your holiday shopping. And that's a Cyber Monday sale. That's good through Wednesday. So check that out. All right, let's get back to our news of the day, Matt. And I think the next thing that we should do is switch gears to recruiting. And we have a story today on Antoine Axon Jackson. And he says that if you're scared to build a program from the ground up, then don't come. And this is a message, Matt, that we are hearing from all of these 2023 recruits. I love every second of it. I love the attitude of these kids that if you can't embrace the challenge ahead and come be a Miami Hurricane and be part of this solution, hey man, like Frankie Tinalau said, man, he'll call the Uber for you. He'll call the Uber for you. Matt, your thoughts on all that?
I think it's pretty obvious. I don't know why you have to say it out loud, but fans enjoy this stuff.
You'll drive the Uber, won't you? You would drive the Uber.
This is the modern day social media frenzy. Fans love it when players say, don't come here. We don't want anybody coming to Miami unless they really want to come to Miami. Like, don't we already know that? I don't understand what all the hubbub is. Like, I don't get it. I know it started when Mario Cristobal said, like, mom, come pick up your kid or whatever, if he doesn't want to be here. That's what started it, which to me, and I said it at the time, I thought it was a mentally incompetent remark only because it made headlines like, people, the headline basically is people aren't happy at Miami and Mario's saying to come get your kids, even though that's not really what he meant.
I was talking to a parent of a recruit a couple days ago and they loved it. They loved that. They don't think parents should be running their mouths on social media, criticizing coaches, making playing time battles for their kids. There's 85 players on a team. Okay. They all can't play. and they all can't be on the field at the same time. And the coaches aren't playing favorites. They're playing guys that can play. And, listen, I'm a parent, and I would, do anything for my kids. And I know you would too, Matt. But there's a time and a place for everything. And going on social media and criticizing the coaches of our kids, to me, is not a parent's place.
That's not what I was saying. But anyway, the message.
Well, I'm saying it, but you could say what you want to say.
Yeah, well, the message of don't come to Miami unless you want to come to Miami. It used to be, the message used to be, come join us at Miami and let's win championships, or come to Miami and let's be part of turning this around. I prefer those messages personally versus don't come because, if you don't want to be here, we don't need you. Like, I prefer the other messages, but if everyone seems to love, I don't get why everyone loves the current message of don't come here unless you really want to. Like, I don't get it why that's such a great message. My message that I would be telling recruits to say if I'm the coach at Miami would be, we are rebuilding this, look at our track record and championships are coming to Miami. Like that's the message I want to hear, not I'll give you an Uber ride to leave Miami.
The coaches are delivering the message you're looking for. The players are the ones saying, if you don't want to be one of us, man, like I'll buy your Uber for you because I don't want you here. Like I don't want to play next to somebody that doesn't want to be here. We're coming here to be serious and take care of serious business. Not too dissimilar to what Cam Kinchin said in the locker room the other night. And they want like-minded individuals around them. They don't want dudes that are only half here and are just, not all in to the mission of the program.
Yeah, but do you understand why you don't want that to be the message? Because all that's saying is that is the current state of affairs. Other programs aren't saying that because that is not the situation with those programs. I'm trying to say we don't want that message because we don't want that here anymore. That we need to get rid of that. When that message is gone, that's a good thing. We don't want the message to be, my point is, we don't want the message to be, don't come to Miami unless you want to really come to Miami and work hard. Because at other schools, they've already moved past that message to let's win championships because we already have everything the way it should be. Everyone wants to be here. We're not sending anyone home, We're not telling people don't come because you have the wrong attitude. That's a problem with the Miami culture right now, and the messaging just reinforces that it's a problem if you understand what I'm trying to tell you.
Fair. I mean, but, again, I think that the message in recruiting is being delivered by the coaches, and that's not what they're saying.
Right.
They're saying,
the coach's message is correct. Come here and win championships. I'm saying the recruiting message from the recruits right now to don't come here unless you really want to. I don't get it. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Another recruiting story on the website today. We take a look at Ohio State cornerback commit Jermaine Matthews, who has now been offered by the Miami Hurricanes and likely will visit. And Matt, this looks like a serious courtship. Like Miami might have a chance to flip this guy from Ohio State.
I'm not interested in him whatsoever now. I don't want him on the team. Anybody who spells the name Matthew with one T, whether it's your first name or last name with one T and Matthew, like I do not want you involved in the program because I don't want people misspelling my name if you become famous here. So I am nixing this one. It is not going to happen.
Well, the funny thing is the story is written by one of our new writers, Stephen Wagner, and it was the second story that he's written in his time at CaneSport. The first was earlier yesterday, and I told him, I said, "You're a keeper, man, because you didn't misspell Matthews. You actually got the spelling correct, a unique Mathews spelling." So, Stephen, welcome to CaneSport, and congratulations on getting that right. A couple other notes for today. Miami is getting ready to play Rutgers in the ACC Big Ten Challenge on Wednesday night. We start taking a look at that. It's a big game in the, I don't know whether to call it the preseason or the opening segment of the season for the Hurricanes, who obviously have big designs for this basketball season. They're off to a very good start. They'll play at the Watsco Center Wednesday night against Rutgers. We start analyzing that and taking a look at that today, and we will continue through this afternoon and tomorrow. Like I said, that's a big game. And a program note, we have CaneSport Live tonight at 8 o'clock And I encourage all you Canes fans to participate in the show. Come on, let's hear your opinions on everything that's going on around the program right now. And there is a lot of it. So that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. We thank you so much, as always, for starting your day out with us, saying good morning to Matt Shodell, and at least, through the airwaves and listening to what we have to say. If you like this show, hit your like button, hit your subscribe button. It helps us with the algorithms at YouTube. If you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, please do become one. Your subscriptions are what allow us to do what we do every single day of the week. And hopefully we do enhance every one of you guys' fan experience. So for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. That's going to do it for today. You guys have a great day, everybody.